Just look at the frost sitting on top of this bed. What can we do now that the temperatures are really plummeting and we're getting frosts and heading into the season where we may get snow and certainly freezing temperatures? What can we do to protect these beds and also to protect any frost sensitive plants or plants that are susceptible to the cold weather? I'm Rue and this is Rue's Life, and today I'm going to talk about the things that I do to protect my beds and my crops and my plants from the colder months. So in the weeks leading up to the temperatures dropping, I'm really glad that I got some preparation done. This bed here has been completely put to bed for the winter. It's been layered up with a layer of leaves that I've raked up from around the farm. I've then added on a layer of cardboard, and after the cardboard I've put a layer of compost. So that bed is ready now, and you can see that thick frost that's on it, but the bed underneath is protected. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the video. This bed here on my right has also been layered up. Now I've run out of compost, but there's always other materials that we can use. So this has also had a layer of leaves, a layer of cardboard, and this is actually used chicken bedding that I've put on top. And you don't have to be completely resting a bed to mulch. So you can see here I've still got things growing in this bed, but what I've done is the areas where there's nothing, that's where I've put my mulch. And you can always use things like compost or use chicken bedding or whatever it is that you're using as a mulch, and you can put that around your plants so you're still protecting the soil, also protecting the roots of those plants and preparing for spring. Here in my polytunnel I have two doors, one at either end, which is pretty standard. This door is a hinged door and has a mesh panel at the top. The door that's behind you is a sliding door and has polythene from top to bottom. So in advance of the winter, before those frosts and the real cold temperatures start coming, one of the things that I do is to actually close this door up. It's battened over, so it's impossible to open it until the spring comes. So with wooden battens around the edge and with plenty of layers of insulation, I've closed that door up. Now that's really going to help to hold the temperatures in here and also to stop the cold air and frost coming in through that meshed top. And it's all done using things which we all get. Other things I'm going to show you, such as covering over this hanging basket, the majority of the materials that I use can be found. So this is just packaging that's come. We all order things online, or even if you buy something from a shop that, you know, it's in a box that's wrapped up and protected. We've got bubble wrap. I've got some of this grey foam, and at the bottom of the door I've actually got some of that packaging that's like a wool package that's then covered in plastic, and I've rolled that up. I keep it for every year and stuff it under that door as a good draft excluder. So as I say, this door is now completely sealed up and insulated to help hold the temperatures in here and stop the cold from coming in. So I've come into the polytunnel because it's a bit warmer than outside, and let's talk about the things that I am doing. So I've briefly touched on them, but let's talk about them in a little bit more detail. The things that I do is to mulch any area of bed that I'm not growing anything, and even where I am growing things I can mulch up and around those plants. But I am also cautious that, you know, those slugs still can be out and about, and we don't want to give them hidey holes around the roots and the bases of plants where they're going to get in there and do a lot of damage. So I still want to be able to see what's going on. And why do I mulch? Mulching my beds as a no-dig gardener is really good preparation for the spring. Those beds have given me prolific harvest through the bulk of the growing season, and although I do still have some bits and bobs going over the winter, the bulk of the nutrients have come up from that soil. You know, they've really done me proud over the spring and summer traditional growing months. By mulching those beds with various materials, we're doing a few different things. So we're protecting that soil, we're putting a layer over the top, and then all those frost thaw, which can be damaging to the soil. Also hammering rain that we get, which really is detrimental to that soil. It hammers it down, it packs it down. You can end up with that crust of hard, compacted soil on the top, and that's really not good for the soil structure. So we're protecting the soil structure. We're keeping it a little bit warmer, and we're also protecting those valuable nutrients and microbials that are within that soil structure. So we're really looking after them so that when the spring comes, they're good to go. And then next I start to look at individual plants. So the things that I've got that are particularly sensitive are in my hanging baskets and one of my pots, and they're my geraniums, my pelargoniums. So I don't actually have a greenhouse which I can keep warmer than a polytunnel, and I don't have the space in the house to bring them indoors. So what I can do is wrap them up, again using materials that have come from packaging. So I have this fleecy foam type material, and that's great for wrapping around the plants in the hanging baskets. And then here in the tub that's usually in the window box bracket on the shed, I brought it into the polytunnel and I've covered that with a little bit of bubble wrap. And also, as I've already mentioned, I cover that polytunnel door that's behind me over. And other things that we could be doing, if you've got loads of bubble wrap, or even if you want to invest in buying some specifically for the job, you could insulate them over with that bubble wrap. If you've got a greenhouse, move your frost susceptible or your cold susceptible plants into that greenhouse, because it is much easier to hold the temperatures. They don't fluctuate as much in a greenhouse, so a glass greenhouse, than they do in a polytunnel. If you happen to have the space, you can bring any frost sensitive plants indoors into your house if you've got a place to do that. I'd love to hear from you in the comments below what it is that you do over the winter months to protect your plants and to protect and prepare your beds. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and there'll be another one coming up on the screen right now that I think you'll enjoy. But for now, take care, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all again soon.